So before I start this video, I just want to preface by saying I've never taken a solo drive where there was just so much nothing in between me and my destination. I mean, I'm honestly convinced I've seen more on a blank piece of paper than I did on that drive, but I mean, what can you do? For those of you who don't know, hi, I'm Miles. 6 months ago, I moved from Miami to LA, though it's funny, I'm actually just about to move back. But I moved for an unpaid internship and just a chance to really add to my resume. Yeah, there'll be more time to go into that later. For now, I want to talk about my solo trip to San Francisco. At one of my newer internships, I got paid extra, and I figured, extra money, I have 4 options. I could either go to Best Buy and buy more camera equipment. I could take a trip to Super Nintendo World out in Universal with my girlfriend, though we decided to save that for later. What was my other option? Ooh, okay. I could get an Xbox, but only to play the newer games, because a lot of the newer games, I don't know, they're just not coming out on last-gen consoles. And option 4, which obviously I picked, was to take a day trip to San Francisco. And after a week of my cousin telling me to get off her couch, I went to San Francisco. Oop, let me adjust that. Sorry, the battery died. So where was I? Okay, so the plan was pretty much I get my rental, I stay the night in Silicon Valley, I spend another 2 days in San Francisco, day 4 I drive back, right? Simple. I mean, I did that, but there are some interesting things that happened along the way that really make me just not question the road trip, but just really makes you rethink it, Well, the first thing was my car rental. As much as I've bashed Kia Souls for just, existing, I will say the one I had was pretty nice. Mine had a sunroof, blind spot monitors, and would even yell at me to take a break if I've been driving for too long. Before, whenever I think about a Kia Soul, all I think about was just how it's too boxy. Hate boxy cars. But I'd also think about how every time I think I found a parking spot, yeah, no, Kia Soul just in the way. But yeah, no, the one I had was really nice. And I was also thinking about that one commercial with the hamsters back from gosh, I don't even know how long ago what that was. So again, it was a long road trip, took about 6 hours off my life. Had to stop for gas and food in the middle of nowhere. I did have motivation for my family and friends and girlfriend even, just to keep going, because again, I don't think I mentioned this, but yeah, no, I've never really traveled solo. So the time I had in Silicon Valley, that was pretty nice. First stop was the Intel Museum, so I'm learning about chips and semiconductors. Listen, call me a nerd. I learned to write my name in binary. I really think what blows my mind is how we were able to, us as humans, we were just able to use ones and zeros to develop letters and numbers. Who thinks of that? And it was pretty interactive. And my next stop after that was just Apple headquarters. And I'm not gonna lie, and maybe I'm just biased because I'm an Android user, but Apple headquarters felt kind of bougie. And I guess it's supposed to because it's Apple, but it's come on. And yeah, before you ask, I am an Android user. I'm proud of it. Walking around LA with an Android will probably get you hate crimed, but it is what it is. Anyway, so at Apple HQ, they had a demonstration with GarageBand, had an iPad, was able to use the AR technology. Oh, and they had a store, which, to be honest, I almost thought about buying something. I almost did buy something, to be honest. As much as I crap on Apple users for having a superiority complex, I really do think it would make communication and file sharing easier for me, only because I want to say probably a lot of people I know have iPhones. But I digress. Oh, and iMessage games. As for Google, I figured that could wait until tomorrow. So the one and only complaint I had about day 1 was the hotel I chose, so that's on me. Listen, when you're traveling on a budget, you're gonna try to suck it up, if I have to stay in a 2 to 3 star hotel, totally fine. But I could not get past the fact that my hotel room had a hole in my wall, mold on the shower head. Oh, and because the bed sheets weren't all that clean, I got paranoid and had to check for bed bugs. Honestly, my first red flag should have been the GPS taking me in between a adult store and a liquor store. And then so when I tried to call, at the same time that happened, the phone line was dead. So I really thought I was going to be sleeping in the car for the night. Listen, okay, eventually we get those things sorted out. And I'm not going to name names, but the name of the hotel rhymes with Equality Finn. So do with that information what you will. Oh, and they charged me an extra $75 by accident. We worked it out, but I'm not really sure how that happened since they already took my security deposit and the room fare. But oh well. Okay, so now we are on day 2. Day 2, I definitely had a better time. However, I'm not huge on public transportation in San Francisco, but we'll cover that in a bit. So I started off by visiting Google headquarters, like I said, and again, maybe I'm biased having an Android. Yeah, I probably am biased having an Android, but I don't know, it just felt more warm and welcoming. Excuse the fit, but I did have a virtual job interview for a place back in Miami earlier that morning. The first thing I did after getting there was checking out the visitor center. It's a lot like Apple's in the sense that like you'll see their name on stuff and they'll try to sell you stuff. But I talked to some people, I bought myself a souvenir, and then I sat at the cafe and ordered before moving on to seeing some of like the statues and sculptures they had around the campus. It was pretty nice, and truth be told, my favorite thing was probably seeing this thing because when it aligns with the sun, oof, magic. It's funny though, I don't even remember what it was called. Probably like the Halo statue or something. Oh, and Google, if you're watching this and want to hire me for your marketing and communications department, please be sure to email me at... Yeah. I feel like this was pretty good free advertising. So anyways, I do this in the morning and then like I drive another like 40 minutes to an hour into like South San Francisco area. So me being unfamiliar with public transportation, I decided it would be a good idea to check into my hotel and use public transportation. So I decided to use the train only because like I'm paranoid about having my rental car broken into, and San Francisco, and it's kind of notorious for that, especially if you're a tourist. But once I took public transportation in San Francisco, listen, I can say at least that New York subway is a bit more like organized, although it is pretty filthy. San Francisco? Oh, they have like 3 or 4 different like systems trying to like, they have like 3 to 4 different systems that all kind of, I guess, like, like work with each other. So, okay, 3 or 4 different things going on at once, and then you have to get a Clipper card, and then you have transfers, and then you have to put money on the card and not over at the station and not on the app, because if you put it on the app, it takes like 24 to like 48 hours to process, and I didn't know that. Listen, all this to say, yeah, it was tough trying to figure out. I mean, they have the Caltrain, the BART, the Muni, and I'm pretty sure like one other thing that I can't remember. All this to say, it was a miracle that I managed to get to the Exploratorium before closing, because that took me way longer than it should have. So I took a train, got off, took another train that eventually turned into the subway, went upstairs, got on a cable car, and that took me to my destination. So I finally get to the Exploratorium, or like, like the Science Museum, and honestly, there's way too much of it to really just like talk about, so I'll probably show you in like this 15-second, I'll probably end up showing you like this 15-second highlight reel. Okay, cool, so you're caught up. So basically, Science Museum, I'm a science nerd, a lot of science stuff. Call it a night, head back to my hotel, boom, that is day 2, just Google in the Exploratorium. Okay, so now we are on to day 3, and day 3 was a lot more relaxing, though I did break my no driving rule and headed into town, but I figured it was okay because you know what? I paid for the insurance at Enterprise, and it's their job to cover this shit if something happened. So, my first stop, I went to Chinatown. Now, I've been to Los Angeles Chinatown, but San Francisco Chinatown is literally the Chinatown. I'm talking about like art, music, architecture, people. My only regret is that I didn't buy food while I was there, and maybe it's because I'm hungry, but have you ever oh man, food smelled so good. I mean, you ever get so hungry that as soon as like you take the first bite of something, like the flavor of it just possesses you? Yeah, that food was just I decided to just go to Union Square for food. Like that was my next stop, and just really see like the area. And to go to Union Square, I had to take the subway, and this was probably honestly one of my easier times taking the subway, and that's only because I get off on the next stop. Like I probably could have walked if I'm being honest, but no, I decided to take the subway. I'm still not over how my Clipper card, you have to pay for it at the station and not digitally, because that takes extra time. But at least now that it's loaded, I have until 2037 to like use all that extra cash value on my card, so I'll be back to use it. So anyway, I passed through Union Square, have a nice lunch. Really, it was like a hot dog and a soda. Then I realized why traffic driving into San Francisco, outside of the population, was already horrible. There was a St. Patrick's Day parade, and I I didn't realize that. The more I look back on it though, the more I should have realized that sooner, because there were plenty of people walking around in like, you know, green. There was even this one guy who dyed his beard orange, white, and green. But oh well. So I go through Chinatown and then see a little bit of Union Square, and our last stop for the day was the Golden Gate Bridge. Now, honestly, and you're gonna call me out for this, I kinda have beef with the bridge. Like, I'm sorry, I know it sounds stupid, but how can you call yourself the Golden Gate Bridge and you're red? And before anybody jumps onto my video giving me historical context or explaining why it is the way it is, listen, I know. Silly reason to have beef with the bridge, but that beef is here to stay. Like, I mean, unless they like repaint the bridge or change the name. I think the inconsistency is like what makes me angry, which is funny because I'm not always consistent myself. If I am being honest though, I didn't expect it to look as cinematic as I've seen it on like movies and TV shows, you know? I mean, these were the pictures I took, and there's gotta be something in the air because the car even looks better here than it normally does. And I guess so many people go out and see it that they had to make it informative, because all to my left and all to my right, I'm seeing information and history about it. And shoot, I mean, they even got a statue of it, like the chief engineer. And yeah, I mean, that pretty much concludes day 3. There's not really much else to say other than like, you know, I got up on day 4, I took another 6-hour drive back, stopped in the middle of nowhere again to get gas and food, and I returned the rental. I will say though that my hotel was a lot better. Oop. Getting a message. I will say though that my hotel in San Francisco was a lot better than the one that was over in like Silicon Valley. Yeah, and I like to say that I did a bunch of these other things, but honestly, I don't think I made the time for it. And that's totally fine because it gives me more of a reason to come back and just visit and see other things I didn't see, and use all that extra money that's sitting on my Clipper card. I didn't see Lombard Street. I didn't see Raven's house. Okay, yeah, no, I didn't see Lombard Street. I didn't see Raven's house. I didn't see other smaller neighborhoods like Little Italy or Japantown. And again, you know, that's fine. I will say though that the next time I go there and like maybe like do another video on it, you'll definitely most likely see my girlfriend Shandi or any of like the Divine family. Oh, we definitely always look for new places to explore. If I wasn't on a budget, I'd probably give them all intros, but here's just like a quick pictures of like everybody. And yeah, this is my personal experience in San Francisco. It's not much, but I mean, it was nice. Anyway, thanks for watching the video. Please be sure to like, comment, subscribe, all that fun stuff. And I'll see you guys next time I come up with a video idea. Peace.